Look at the night sky. To the naked eye, it feels full.
An infinite,
It looks like a
three-dimensional
vast,
void of
shimmering tapestry of a
unimaginable
billion
scale.
possibilities. A crowded theater where 1,000 stories are surely being told at once. From this distance, the universe appears vibrant, teeming with the potential for life, for cities, and for songs we have yet to hear. But when we listen, when we truly open our ears to the abyss, the theater is silent. There is no music, there is no dialogue, no footsteps echoing in the dark. We are surrounded by a monolithic emptiness that defies everything we know about the odds of existence. We are a species built on the expectation of company. But the more we look, the more we realize that the universe is not just big, it is lonely. We are counting the stars in a room where we are the only ones left to count. History is a series of humiliations. We once believed ourselves to be the center of the world. Then the center shifted to the sun, then to the galaxy. Finally, we realized that there is no center at all.
The cosmos.
Only an infinite expanding
void
web of
stretching
dark
into
energy
eternity.
and light.
A canvas of monolithic
Science has spent
emptiness and
centuries
overwhelming
teaching us the
scale.
principle of mediocrity. It tells us that we are average, that our yellow sun is common, that our rocky planet is unremarkable. It tells us that the ingredients for life are scattered across the abyss like common dust. This is the Copernican insult. If we are so ordinary, then where is everyone else? The silence is the ultimate insult to our logic. We are told we are not special, yet the universe treats us as if we are the only ones here. We are an average species, living in a monolithic exception.
Cosmos.
The math is a
Infinite,
haunting.
three-dimensional
We live in a
void of
galaxy
space.
of 400 billion
Pitch
stars.
black background.
Each one is a potential sun, each sun a potential cradle. To the modern mind, these numbers are monolithic. We have a ledger for this hope.
centuries, humanity
We call it
placed
the Drake
itself
equation.
at the center.
It is a series of variables, fractions of stars, with the planets fractions of planets with liquid water, and the narrow, fragile probability of life finding a way to think. Even if we are conservative, even if we assume life is a 1 in a billion miracle, the result is never zero. The math suggests that the sky should be a riot of activity, a crowded map of civilizations reaching out and screaming their names into the abyss. Yet we look into the dark and the dark looks back, indifferent. We are haunted by a number that refuses to manifest in the light. We are a statistical certainty, living in a literal vacuum. Perhaps there is a wall, a barrier so monolithic and so absolute that every civilization, no matter its brilliance, eventually hits it and shatters. We call it the Great Filter. It is the invisible architect of the silence. Imagine the history
We
of a
call
world
it the
as a
Milky
long,
Way.
arduous climb.
Yet in this
From the
infinite
first
void,
spark of a cell
our
to the
existence
mastery of
is
the
but a
atom.
Where
Somewhere
is
along this
everyone?
path, there is a step that is nearly impossible. The question that haunts our species is where this filter lies. Is it behind us? Are we the victors of a 1,000,000,000,000 lottery, standing alone on a peak of a mountain made of dust? But there is a darker thought. Perhaps the filter is ahead of us. Perhaps every civilization that discovers how to harvest its star also discovers how to erase itself. Perhaps the silence is not a lack of light, but a graveyard of those who reached for the light and found only the abyss. We speak of life as if it were a simple recipe: water, carbon, heat. We assume that if the ingredients are present, the meal is inevitable. But to the observer in the void, life is a monolithic coincidence. It is not enough to have a world. That world must be cradled in a silence that lasts for eons. It must possess a heart of
N
molten
equals R
iron
star
to generate a
times
shield against the
FP
sun's fury.
times
It must have a moon, a silver anchor,
The
to steady its
cosmos.
dance. We look at our home and see a sanctuary,
Infinite,
but the stars see a fragile
a
anomaly.
free dimension.
We are protected by giants. Jupiter sits in the dark like a silent guardian, catching the wandering rocks that would have crushed our ancestors in their cradle. 1 degree too hot, one impact too many, and the story of Earth ends before the first word is ever spoken. The stars call it luck. We have been screaming for a century. Since the first radio wave rippled away from our world, we have been a luminous beacon. But on a cosmic scale, a century is not a duration, it is a shutter click.
Behold the galactic
We assume that because
traffic,
we have the ears to
a
hear, we
riot
should
of
be
activity
heard.
connecting
But
the
we forget how
stars.
quickly the light fades. As we grow more advanced, we grow quieter. We are moving from the loud broadcast of our youth to the efficient whispers of digital light. Our window of visibility is closing even as we begin our search. Is intelligence itself a technological trap? We build tools that move at the speed of light, while our wisdom crawls at the speed of the
three-dimensional
fossil.
void of space.
The silence might be the sound of a billion civilizations whose reach exceeded their
cosmos.
grasp. A signal is a
infinite
match struck in a
void.
hurricane. It flares, and then the dark returns heavier than before. What if the silence is not a lack of life, but a precaution? Imagine a forest at night. It is vast, ancient, and filled with predators. In this forest, a hunter does not scream. To be
Across
heard
the
is to be
cosmos,
found.
life
To be
emerges.
found is to be ended. We call it the dark forest theory. It suggests that every civilization in the cosmos is a hunter armed and wary. In a universe where light years separate us, there is no room for trust. There is only the chain of suspicion. If you see a spark in the distance, you do not wave. You extinguish it before it can grow into a fire that consumes you. We have shouted our names like children playing in a clearing, unaware of the eyes watching from the canopy.
A
The silence
timeless
might be the
void
sound of a
absolute
trillion civilizations holding their breath. We are the only ones screaming in the dark. And in a forest full of hunters, that is not a sign of strength. It is a target. We are prisoners of the present. We measure the universe in years and decades, but the galaxy is 13 billion years old. In this vast monolithic expanse, humanity is a heartbeat. Imagine the history of our
infinite,
galaxy as a
three-dimensional
24-hour
void
day.
of space.
In that day,
Pitch
human
black.
civilization occupies less
In the
than the
vast
final tenth of a
indifference
second.
of the cosmos,
This is the tragedy
even
of the
monoliths
temporal paradox.
must eventually surrender.
It is not enough for two civilizations to exist in the same
Infinite,
galaxy.
three-dimensional
They must
void
exist
of
in the
space.
same moment. We look for signals as if the universe is a live broadcast, but it is more like a library where most of the books have already burned. We are like two strangers passing in a dark house 1,000 years apart. We touch the same walls, but we never hear the other's voice. The party is over, or it hasn't even begun. The body is a cage of water and carbon. We look for oxygen and temperate climates because we assume everyone else is as fragile as we are. But biology is merely a brief frenetic prologue. Once the fire of intelligence is lit, why stay in the cage? A civilization only 1,000 years more advanced than our own may have already abandoned the meat. They may have uploaded their consciousness into monolithic structures of silicon and light. The great silence might be a choice. An advanced post-biological civilization would not need to broadcast or
Behold the
colonize.
fragile anomaly.
They would seek efficiency. They might live in the cold, quiet outposts of their solar systems. They would not be looking for neighbors. They would be looking for computation. We are looking for smoke rising from a chimney, but our neighbors have become the house itself. What if the silence is not a mystery, but a policy? Imagine a nature preserve. Inside the fence, the animals live in total ignorance of the highways just a few miles away. The humans do not interfere. They simply observe. This is the zoo hypothesis. It suggests the galaxy is already claimed by civilizations that view us as a
cosmos,
curiosity.
infinite
To
and
them,
timeless.
we are a primitive species in a state of
The
delicate
infinite
development.
void of
In this
space.
light, to contact us would be
A
to
monolithic
destroy us.
structure where
We are
life
looking through
is
a
the
one-way
cosmos.
mirror. The observers are there standing in the shadows, waiting for us to reach a certain threshold. It is a humbling thought for an anthropologist. We are not the explorers. We are the exhibits. We are screaming at the glass, wondering why the empty room doesn't scream back. But the room isn't empty. It's just patient. We build to be remembered. We assume a great civilization leaves a monolithic scar on the
Void of
universe.
space.
But we forget that time is a solvent. If humanity were to vanish tomorrow, our greatest cities would be reclaimed in a mere 10,000 years. In a million years, the very strata of the planet would swallow our steel. We believe digital data is eternal, yet it is more fragile than clay tablets. Bit rot and magnetic decay would turn our libraries into chaotic static. On a galactic scale, a civilization that
Time is
lasts
the
a million
ultimate
years
solvent.
leaves no more mark
Even
than
the
a
most
single raindrop
monolithic
in the ocean.
structures must eventually yield.
The silence we hear might be the sound of a
infinite
universe that
void
is
of
simply
space.
clean.
Vast,
The great silence
indifferent.
is the victory of entropy. We are looking for footprints, forgetting that we are standing in a desert where the wind never stops blowing. We are looking for the light of our own reflection. For 80 years, we have scanned the skies for radio waves, the noisy heartbeat of 20th century man. But radio is a primitive tool. It is slow and it bleeds energy into the void like a leaking ship. Imagine an isolated tribe. They communicate through the beat of a drum, a frenetic thumping that carries for a mile. They listen for the drums of their neighbors, and when they hear nothing but the wind, they conclude they are alone. They do not know the air around them is saturated with thousands of voices, carried on frequencies they cannot feel. We might be that tribe. Perhaps they speak through neutrinos, or manipulate space-time through gravitational ripples. We are not deaf. We are simply tuned to a frequency that the universe has long ago abandoned. If we cannot hear their voices, perhaps we can see their shadows. A civilization does not stay small forever. Its hunger for energy will eventually outgrow a single planet. It will look at its parent star, that monolithic furnace, and see not a god, but a battery. In 1960, Freeman Dyson imagined the
Infinite,
ultimate destination of
three-dimensional void of
industry, the
space.
Dyson sphere.
Pitch black
It is a
background
swarm.
populated by distant,
Trillions of mirrors
cold
capturing
pinpoints of
every stray
starlight.
photon. To a distant observer, this star would not look normal. It would flicker, it would dim in a rhythm that nature never intended. We have seen these flickers. We call them anomalies. But in the quiet hours of the night, we wonder if we are looking at a shroud. They are not hiding. They are simply busy. We are like a child in a dark room, looking at the cracks in the door, wondering what kind of giant is burning so much oil on the other side. Industry leaves a scar. No matter how advanced a civilization cannot hide the physical consequences of its survival. If a species survives long enough, it will seek to move its solar system. Imagine a mirror so monolithic that it spans millions of miles, the Shkadov thruster. Over millions of years, this mirror can push an entire star across the galaxy. They might do this to avoid a supernova or to migrate toward the galactic center. But where there is industry, there is debris. We look for the scars nebulae where hydrogen has been stripped away. We look for the ghost heat of dead habitats. In this light, we are archaeologists of the vacuum. We search for footprints, forgetting the giant may have walked here 100 million years ago. The silence might be a city where the inhabitants have simply moved on. The galaxy is a house with 10,000 rooms. If you had 1,000,000 years, you could
The
visit
cosmos
every
is
single
an
one.
infinite void,
This is the core of the
populated
paradox.
only by the monolithic
We look at the
furnaces
distances
we
between
call
stars and think they are an impassable barrier. But to an advanced civilization, space is merely a schedule. Even at a crawl, a civilization could colonize the entire Milky Way in less than 50 million years. To the galaxy that is a weekend. If the first civilization rose just a fraction of a percent earlier than we did, they should have been here before the dinosaurs. The galaxy should be saturated with their presence.
The infinite
Yet we find the
void of
rooms empty.
space,
The walls are bare.
a
This is the
monolithic
paradox of
structure.
expansion. It is not that they cannot reach us. It is that they haven't. Either the door is locked, or there is no one left who wants to open it. We are a species of seekers, but we are also a species of mirrors. When we look for life, we are looking for ourselves. We look for expansion because we are a restless, colonizing ape. This is our anthropological bias. We define intelligence by our own narrow history. But what if our path is the anomaly? What if intelligence is a quiet return to the self? Perhaps an advanced mind does not value more. They might find that the ultimate destiny is to live in a perfect silent harmony. We find the silence insulting because we want to be heard. We find the great silence terrifying because it suggests that our obsession with growth is a dead end. We are a child shouting in a library. We assume they are absent when they might just be contemplative. The silence is the sound of a universe that has reached maturity while we are still in our
The
infancy.
cosmos, infinite,
We assume that if the
three-dimensional
stage
void
is
of
set, the
space,
play must
pitch black
begin.
background
We
populated
find
by
planets
distant,
in the
cold
Goldilocks
pinpoints
zone
of starlight.
and assume liquid water is enough. But Earth is a monolithic series of fortunate accidents. Consider our moon a titan that stabilizes our axis. Without it, our weather would be a frenetic storm of extremes. Consider our shield a core of molten iron that generates an invisible wall against the sun's lethal breath. Consider our guardian Jupiter, the cosmic vacuum cleaner catching the asteroids that would have slammed into Earth. We look at the silence and feel lonely, but perhaps we should feel lucky. The universe is not a garden, it is a firing range. We are the only ones who survived the first billion years of the game. We are not just a civilization, we are a miracle of geometry and timing, and miracles are rare. Here is the realization that stops the heart. We have spent decades assuming we are the latecomers to a cosmic party. But what if we are not the last? What if we are the first? We look at the universe and see a ruin. But the universe is still in its infancy. Most of the planets that will ever host life have not yet cooled. For the first several billion years, the universe was too violent. It was a frenetic storm of gamma-ray bursts. It is only now in this brief window of stability that a world like Earth could survive. We are not the students staring at an empty chalkboard. We are the firstborn.
An infinite
The
void
silence
of
isn't a
vast
graveyard.
indifferent scale.
It is a nursery. We are the ancestors that the future will look back upon with awe. We are not alone. We are simply early. To be the first is to be responsible. If the great silence is a nursery, then we are the ones standing over the cradle. We are the only part of the universe that has woken up. This is the burden of legacy. If we were to vanish today, the universe would not just lose a species, it would lose its witness. The abyss would return to unobserved perfection. Suns would explode, but there would be no one to name them.
Silence reigns
Without
supreme.
us, the
Any
universe is a
intrusion
story
met
with
with
no
immediate
reader.
rejection.
We are not looking for someone to save us. We are looking for someone to join us. We carry the fire of consciousness through a cold, dark room. We are the ones who must ensure that the silence eventually becomes a conversation. We must stay awake, so the universe doesn't have to dream in the dark. The screen goes dark, but the stars remain. They do not care that we have built massive ears of silver to catch the whisper of a ghost. They will continue to weave the fabric of the night long after the last human signal has faded. Perhaps we are alone, or perhaps the others are out there living as digital gods in the silence. It does not matter. It is not the answer that defines a civilization. It is the fact that for one brief glowing second, the universe had a witness. For a moment, the silence was not just a void, it was a place that was felt. Sleep now. The galaxy is vast. But because we looked, the dark is no longer empty. Because we were here, and we heard the silence.